Can you believe that one of JYP's most beloved bands, DAY6, started off with literally nothing to their name? Like when I say nothing, I mean their very first paycheck was less than the price of a cup of coffee. I'm not even exaggerating. On New Quiz on the Block, the members shared that their first payout from JYP was just 3,600 KRW. That's about to United States dollars and 59 cents. Imagine working your whole life for your dream, debuting under a big company like JYP, thinking, yes, I made it, only to find out your idol Paycheck couldn't even buy you a decent bowl of ramen. Sungjin opened up about how, in those early days, the members had to get creative just to survive. He even said he was rationing his ramen packets, stretching every meal, and at one point, he'd get extra allowance to buy food for the members because the music wasn't paying at all. Like, picture this, idols who are standing on stage, smiling, performing for fans, but then going home and literally calculating how to divide instant noodles so no one goes hungry. It's both heartbreaking and inspiring. And honestly, what really got me was when Sungjin admitted they would go to every single company dinner they could find, even if they weren't officially invited, just so they could meet producers and say, we're DAY6. Please listen to our song. That level of hustle. That's not just desperation. That's pure passion and survival mode. And it makes me respect them even more. Then Young K added his side of the story, and it was almost funny but also so raw. He confessed that he thought debuting under JYP would be glamorous, shooting commercials, being everywhere in the media. But the reality, only 1 or 2 articles after debut, and he admitted he even used to carry around a JYP shopping bag just to prove to people that, hey, I'm signed with JYP. I'm an idol. Can you imagine? The mix of pride and frustration in that little bag was his badge of honor, even when reality wasn't living up to the dream. The fact that these guys pushed through those humiliating, exhausting early years working side jobs, showing up uninvited just to network, and still didn't give up. That's why today, when we celebrate DAY6's 10th anniversary, it feels so much more meaningful, because their success wasn't handed to them. They fought tooth and nail for it. And as fans, knowing the backstory makes every song hit harder. You don't just hear the music, you feel the struggle, the hunger, the late nights, the tears, and the grind that went into it. And speaking of struggles idols face, the next story is honestly shocking, and, to me, it's one of those moments where you realize how scary and cruel the world can be, even for someone as loved as TXT's Soobin. So, picture this, TXT is gearing up for their first big concert in the United States. Excitement is through the roof. Fans are buzzing, tickets are sold out, and MOAs are just counting down the days. But then, out of nowhere, chaos hits. A netizen actually reported Soobin to ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, claiming that he was undocumented and staying in the country illegally. Yeah, you heard that right. Someone tried to get Soobin deported right before his concert. Now, the post that started this whole mess was deleted, but screenshots were already out there, circulating online, fueling fandom wars, and sparking copycats. And honestly, the more you look at it, the scarier it becomes, because this isn't just a fan war thing or some petty rivalry. It's dangerous. Like, we're talking about playing with someone's career, safety, and even his life. And here's where it gets even more real. This didn't happen in a vacuum. Around the same time, ICE was already carrying out a massive raid in Georgia, targeting a Hyundai facility. Over 300 South Korean workers, many of them with proper visas, were detained. Some were even U.S. citizens, held without warrants, interrogated, treated like criminals. ICE was straight up violating laws, and people with every right to be in the U.S. were suffering because of it. So when fans saw that someone decided to use this same climate, this same fear, to weaponize it against Soobin, the anger was immediate. Because this goes beyond trolling or fan drama. This touches on racism, xenophobia, and the terrifying reality of what can happen when hate gets out of control. Imagine being Soobin for a moment. You're not just preparing for your big concert. You're carrying the weight of your group's US debut stage. You're representing K-pop on a global platform. And suddenly, there's this whisper in the air that someone has reported you to immigration authorities, knowing full well the kind of raids and violations happening at that very moment. That's not a joke. That's trauma. Fans have been calling it what it really is, a hate crime. Because this wasn't some light-hearted prank. It was an attack. An attack not just on Soobin, but on every Korean, every immigrant, and every fan who has ever been told they don't belong. And honestly, as a fan, I can't even imagine the fear he must have felt, even if nothing officially came of it. Just knowing your name is being thrown around in that context. In a country where raids are happening and people are being detained without reason that leaves scars. What's crazy is that despite all of this, Soobin still went up on stage, still gave his all, and TXT still delivered for MOAs. That's the strength of an idol. That's the resilience of someone who knows his fans are counting on him, and that's why this story hits so deep, because behind the smiles and performances, idols are humans who can be targeted, hurt, and put in danger just like anyone else. And if the Soobin situation wasn't already enough, proof that idols deal with so much beyond the stage. The next story honestly makes my blood boil, because it's not just trolls or haters. This time it's technology itself being twisted into something dangerous. So, you all know how AI has been everywhere lately, right? Like, from music remixes to deep fake videos to those random TikTok filters that can change your whole face. But here's the dark side. People have been using AI to sexualize male idols. Yeah, you heard that right? Fans started noticing this so-called trend where AI-generated edits make it look like male idols are literally kissing the fans who made them. At first glance, some might laugh it off as delulu fangirl behavior, but the deeper you go, the scarier it gets. Because let's be real, once you feed an idol's images into these tools, you're opening the door for way worse. It doesn't stop at a fake kiss. That same technology can and has been used to put idols into sexual situations they never consented to. And that's not just creepy, that's exploitation. It strips them of their humanity and reduces them to objects for anyone with Wi-Fi to manipulate. What's wild is that there are already safe, fun, and official ways to create that fantasy moment with idols, like the photo booth templates companies release during comebacks, or those virtual meet and greet apps. Those are designed to give fans the experience in a respectful, harmless way. But when people bypass all that and start generating fake, sexualized images, that's crossing a line. And trust me, netizens are not staying quiet about this. Reddit has been blowing up with debates, some saying, oh, it's harmless fantasy, while others are like, no, this is not okay. These are human beings, not dolls. Not objects for AI to play with, and honestly, I'm with the second camp 100%. Because the more we normalize this it's just harmless fun mindset, the more doors we open for actual abuse, harassment, and non-consensual content. As a fan, I can't help but imagine how it would feel to be an idol, scrolling online, and suddenly seeing your own face in an intimate scene you never agreed to. That's not just embarrassing, that's traumatic. And it's unfair. These idols already live under constant surveillance, with cameras on them every time they step outside. They give us their talent, their energy, their love for their craft. The least we can do as fans is protect their dignity, not feed them into a machine that turns them into something they're not. So yeah, AI might be the future in a lot of ways, but when it comes to this kind of content, it's nothing but a nightmare. And if you ask me, fandoms need to step up and shut this trend down before it gets worse. And just when you think the week couldn't get any messier, here comes another story that proves how idols can't even breathe in peace without someone crossing the line. This time, it's about BTS's Jungkook, and honestly, ARMYs everywhere are fuming. So, here's what went down. On September 11th, Jungkook and J-Hope showed up at Incheon Airport. getting ready to fly out to the US for overseas schedules. You know the scene, flashing cameras, fans waving, reporters lining up for that exclusive shot. That's normal. But what wasn't normal was one reporter deciding to get a little too personal. Instead of sticking to questions about the trip or music or literally anything professional, this reporter asked Jungkook if he had lost a lot of weight. Like what? At an airport, in front of cameras, no context, just that. And Jungkook, being the angel he is, simply threw up an X with his hands, basically saying, nope. That's not the case. You'd think the reporter would have just left it there, right? But no. They pressed further. No, you didn't lose any. And all Jungkook could do was shrug it off. With that polite awkwardness we've seen idols use when they're put on the spot. The reaction from fans, pure fury. Because let's be honest, why are we still asking idols about their weight in 2025? Especially someone like Jungkook, who has been open about his health, his routines, and who is already under a microscope. 24/7's reporters are supposed to be professionals, not random gossip blog commenters fishing for a viral moment. And the way the question was repeated, almost like an accusation, made it feel even ruder. Netizens immediately started calling out the reporter for being insensitive, pointing out that idols shouldn't be reduced to their weight like this. Jungkook isn't a number on a scale. He's an artist, a performer, someone about to fly out for work. And it's crazy that in a setting as public as an airport, with all eyes on him, someone thought that was an appropriate thing to ask. And the thing is, idols have already spoken so many times about the pressure they feel regarding body image. These comments, especially coming from professionals, don't just disappear after the interview. They echo. They create insecurities. They feed the toxic cycle of how much do idols, weight charts, and speculation posts online. And honestly, it's exhausting to even see it happen, let alone imagine being the one standing there and having to smile through it. The best part, though, is seeing armies step up immediately, flooding the internet with defense for Jungkook, dragging that reporter, and reminding everyone that Jungkook is healthy, thriving, and looking incredible. And that's the energy we love, turning something negative into a wave of protection and positivity for him.